Sunday is coming up. And I know if you're not from the United States, you don't understand our whole alumni university fans thing. It doesn't click with you guys. I get it. But the way I describe it in two ways. One, as far as the alumni association goes and how everybody's all buddy buddy with people who went to the same college as them, I describe that as being like the public school system in England, where it has to do with like who you know, where your parents went, how rich you are, how smart you are. And then when it comes to like people who didn't even go to the schools cheering for the sports teams, a lot of states don't have professional sports leagues, but they do have people who love sports. So I've got Kansas up here, Kansas University. The state of Kansas, I don't think has a professional basketball team, but they have the University of Kansas, which is a great basketball program. I was up in Kansas about this time last year, kind of piddled around Lawrence for a little bit. It's a cool town. But anyway, I'm going to be doing book badness. So I've got my brackets here, my regions. It's going to be my four favorite genres. My favorite books in those genres are going to go up against each other, and then we're going to have the final. So let's talk about the books in historical fiction. Let's get this bracket going. The Pool of the Stars. I talk about this book all the time. It's about a nurse during during the Spanish flu pandemic. It takes place over 3 days in a maternity ward, and it's about the nurse and her trying to save the patients and the babies, and her relationship with a female doctor and a volunteer. The Other Boleyn Girl. This is the book that kind of sparked my love for historical fiction. It's about Mary Boleyn, who I'm sure now everyone knows, but she would be a complete unknown if not for Philippa Gregory. And I've spoken a little bit about how the sort of inaccuracy and changing history, especially in regards to people's reputations, really upsets me, but I have to move past that. Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel, another Tudor novel. This is about Thomas Cromwell. It's a fictional biography, and it humanizes one of the Tudor era's biggest villains. And then At Night, All Blood is Black. This is about a Singhalese boy who is forced to fight in World War One for France, and he essentially goes crazy. um, yeah, forced assimilation and war do not mix well. So the first books going head to head are The Pool of the Stars and The Other Boleyn Girl, and The Pool of the Stars is going to take this one just because of the staying power, and it was not very long. The Other Boleyn Girl is over 600 pages. The Pool of the Stars is less than 300. So while length normally doesn't matter, just the way this was able to tell such a lasting story in such a short span kicks The Other Boleyn Girl out a little bit. And then Wolf Hall and At Night, All Blood is Black, both masterpieces, but I've got to agree with the New York Times here in that Wolf Hall is really one of the best works of literature ever written. It's currently sitting at number 3 of the 21st century, and I think it's well earned. And when these two go head to head, The Pool of the Stars and Wolf Hall, it really just comes down to which book I think about more, and it's The Pool of the Stars. I read this book in 2020 during some of the darkest days of the pandemic. I still think about it almost every day. Fantasy, my second favorite genre in our second bracket here. So, The Golden Compass, this is about Lyra Belacqua. She finds an alethiometer, which is a device that tells the truth about everything, and she is the only person who can read it. It's a chosen one story. And she goes on an adventure to find her father in the far north. Tress of the Emerald Sea. These two are kind of on the same wavelength, but they both have animal companions. Tress is a rat, and the Golden Compass has a polar bear, a moth, an ermine. Yeah, pretty cool. So Tress loses her boyfriend, and so she sails a sea made of green spores that anytime they come into contact with moisture, they sprout. And so she goes across that to find her boyfriend who is missing. Stardust. Yes, Neil Gaiman's a monster, but I have a deep love for this book. And at the end of the day, guys, we still read The Witch's Hammer and Hitler's book. So I'm separating art from the artist in this one. Stardust is still one of my favorite stories. Yes, it's tainted. No, I will never teach it again. But it's a story of a star that falls to Earth, and instead of being a hunk of dust, it is a woman. And our boy Tristram goes to find it to bring it back to the love of his life. So it's kind of similar to Tress. And then we've got Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. This is Harry Potter number 6. It contains a lot of backstory, and I don't want to give away too many spoilers. There are huge spoilers going on in this book. So this is just the 6th Harry Potter book. So going head to head, Tress of the Emerald Sea and the Golden Compass. The Golden Compass is going to take this one mostly because of the religious overtones. Essentially, what Lyra's trying to stop is the Magisterium, which is an allegory for the Catholic Church, splitting children from their souls. And then when we get Stardust and the 6th Harry Potter is going to edge that one out because of the time period, because Harry is 16, he's growing up, things are coming to a head. But when these two come up against each other, the Golden Compass and Harry Potter, it's going to the Golden Compass because the Golden Compass can stand on its own. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince obviously cannot. And this book really, like, book 6 and book 7 could have been one book. This book is all exposition for book 7. So the Golden Compass takes the fantasy bracket. Historical non-fiction. Here we go. So first is The Very Secret Sex Lives of Medieval Women. This book is about just what it tells you it's about. It's actually really funny, really, I was going to say touching, but yeah, really touching, but not in that way. And I will never forget sitting there reading the part about contraception. And one of the ways of contraception in the medieval times was thoughts and prayers. That had me losing it laughing. And then The White Ship. So this is actually written by Princess Diana's brother, and I'm sure a lot of people on BookTube have read The Pillars of the Earth. This is about the ship that sank and started I don't think it was England's first civil war, but it was really the first civil war most people know about. It's called the Anarchy, and it was a war for the throne of England. Henry I's only legitimate son died when the White Ship, which was actually a ship that sailed over with Henry's father William during the Norman Conquest, that's a Norman lion on the front, when it sank and killed a lot of members of the royal family. And so the heir to the throne was then either Matilda of Normandy, Henry's only other legitimate child, but she was a girl, or Henry's nephew, Stephen. So the war was between Empress Maud, Matilda, and Stephen. So that is what this book is about. Next is Lost Heirs of the Medieval Crown. It actually features some of the same characters as in The White Ship. This book is so accessible, you fly through it, and it has so much information and so many stories that just need to be told. It's about children who were heir to the medieval crown but never became king. So we've got people like William Adelin, people like the Princes in the Tower, Prince Arthur, who has a tragic, horrible story that literally only one person I know, hi Britain, even knows about. So yeah, that's such a great book. And then last on the list is going to be Life in a Medieval Castle. Everyone knows about this one. It was used as reference for Game of Thrones, and it's a classic. So when it comes down to The White Ship and Very Secret Sex Lives of Medieval Women, the sex book is going to win. I'm sorry to say. I think this is kind of a me thing. The White Ship is definitely going to resonate more with just a general audience, but it was all narrative. There was no really reflection or speculation, and the Very Secret Sex Lives of Medieval Women had that laugh factor that The White Ship just really didn't have. It was very humorless. And so when we go up against Lost Heirs of the Medieval Crown and Life in a Medieval Castle, I know Life in a Medieval Castle is a classic, but Lost Heirs of the Medieval Crown is going to take it because of its accessibility and the stories it tells. So that puts us with The Very Secret Sex Lives of Medieval Women and Lost Heirs of the Medieval Crown. And because of the story it tells and the accessibility, Lost Heirs of the Medieval Crown is going to take it. And if you are looking to get into nonfiction history, this is a great place to start. Less than 300 pages, a bunch of little short, compact, basically little mini Wikipedia articles, and it's a great read. Young adult contemporary, our last bracket before we get to the big show. Punching the Air. This is a novel in prose about a young black boy from New York who is falsely accused of starting a fight that ends up putting a white kid in a coma. It's really interesting how much of a story was able to be told in prose, and I was really, really impressed by it. And it's written by one of the, I think, Central Park Five, one of the men who was exonerated, who was wrongly accused. And then don't read the comments. This is about a streamer and a boy whose mom puts too much pressure on him. And this is really a fun, kind of cute, light read, but it does contain some good commentary on online behavior and doxing and harassment. And it's a cute little read. Perks of Being a Wallflower, we all know about this one. Unfortunately, this is an example of one where the movie is better than the book, but this book is still great. It's about Charlie. He's got some mental problems. He's dealing with his freshman year of high school, writing to an anonymous friend. And if you are wondering, yes, it does take place in the past. It takes place in the early 90s. And then Challenger Deep, another book I talk about all the time. It's about a 15-year-old boy who's in the hospital for the first time. He's just now showing signs of schizophrenia, and he's being diagnosed with schizophrenia. So yeah, and the illustrations were actually done by Neal Shusterman's son, who himself suffers from schizophrenia. So when it comes to Punching the Air, don't read the comments. Punching the Air, just because of the depth and the lyricism of it, is going to take it over. Don't read the comments. Although don't read the comics is really great, and it's good for any teen. But yeah, Punching the Air is just a little deeper. And then when it comes to Perks of Being a Wallflower and Challenger Deep's going to take it because of how accurate it was in its portrayal of mental illness and the hospital. And so when it comes, you guys know I was an inner city teacher. Punching the Air really got a lot of things right, but Challenger Deep just kind of resonated more with me because I spent a lot of time in teen psychiatric facilities. And this book, I always say, any parent or teacher who has it's kind of a funny story on their shelf needs to chuck that one out and replace it with Challenger Deep. So we come down to the finals. We've got Challenger Deep, Pool of the Stars, Golden Compass, and Lost Heirs of the Medieval Crown. So when we put the Pool of the Stars and the Golden Compass up against each other, serious differences, and both are all-time faves, but the Pool of the Stars is going to take it. It's a standalone, less than 300 pages, and again, I just think about it more. And so Lost Heirs of the Medieval Crown and Challenger Deep, completely different. But because of the accessibility and because of the stories it tells the people we don't know, Lost Heirs of the Medieval Crown takes it. So we've got two historical themed books in the finals. Surprise, surprise. Which one's gonna take it? Come on, guys. You knew it was The Pull of the Stars. It is my favorite book of all time. It's a must-read for everyone. The only thing about it, though, is that it doesn't have quotation marks. So the dialogue isn't marked by quotation marks, which takes some getting used to, but it's still a brilliant read. I don't want to give too much away about it, but just go read it. Like, stop listening to me and go read the book. So thank you guys. I'm so excited for Selection Sunday. If you're wondering, my teams for March Madness are going to be Iowa, because I went to the Iowa Writers Workshop in 2017, and then Texas. And then, yes, my school, North Texas, is on there for sure, but I mean, come on, we're not going to win anything. So that's it for me, guys. Happy March Madness. See ya.